Hello, boys and girls. Today we are on lesson 8.3, Mental Math Addition. And I believe if you have your workbook, it's page 298. So let's take a look here. We're going to get right into it. How can you add with mental math? All right. Now, when we look at using mental math, it doesn't just mean solve it in your head. We will be writing things down. So while it's called mental math, we're also using our pencil and writing things down on paper. Let's look at our problem here to start with. Dr. Gomez recorded the number of northern right whales, Atlantic spotted whales, and western Atlantic harbor seals she saw off the coast of Florida in 2 different years. And then the big question, how many whales did Dr. Gomez see during the 2 years? And she says, our little friend here says, you can use an open number line, mental math strategies, and properties of operations to solve this problem. We can look at our data over here. Marine animals seen. We have whales, which is what we're focusing on in this first question. 325 the first year, 114 the second year. She also saw dolphins and seals. Okay, but if we go back to our question, the focus here is how many whales did Dr. Gomez see? So let's look at one strategy. It says to find 325 plus 114, we're going to use an adding on strategy, obviously with a number line here. So we start with 325 right there, and then we're going to add on 114. And the strategy we're going to use first is to break apart 114. And if we see down here, they broke it into 100 plus 10 plus 4. That's 114. So the first thing we're going to do is take 325, add 100 to it, and we get 425. Second step, we're going to take and add this 10 right here. So it's 425 plus 10, and we end up with 435. And then the last step would be to add 4. So we have 435 plus 4 more, and we end up with 439. So 325 plus 114 equals 439. As a result, Dr. Gomez saw 439 whales. That's one strategy. Let's look at another one. And when we're doing these strategies, what I want you to think about is what works best for you. One of these two, maybe you have a different strategy that will work. So this another way here on section C, we're going to use make 10 strategy. So they're going to break apart 114, and in this case they made 100 plus 5 and 9. 5 plus 9 is 14. So 100 plus 5 plus 9, 114. And there's a reason they chose 5 instead of doing like they did over here with 110 and 4. They chose 5 for a different reason, and we'll see that right here. They're going to take that 5 and add it to 325 to make a 10 of 330. We know this is a 10 because this number right here ends with 10. Any numbers that end with 10, like 10, 20, 30, 40, and on, we know we're counting by tens. So 330 ends with 10. That means we were counting by tens. So we added the 5. Next up, we're going to add the 100. So we were at 330. We add the 100. Now we're at 430. The only thing we have left to add now is 9. So finally we're going to add 9. So we take our 430, add 9, and we end up with 439. So same thing, 325 plus 114 equals 439. Again, Dr. Gomez saw 439 whales. Okay. You could use this same type of, when they broke up this 114 and made it 100 plus 5 plus 9, you could have done 100 plus 10 plus 4 and maybe added it up a little bit differently, probably very similar to the way we added on the number line in the previous example. I would have started with 325, added 100, that would get me to 425, then add 10, which would equal 435, and then finally add the 4, which would get me to 439. So it can be done in different ways as far as breaking up that one of those numbers. It doesn't have to be the exact same way every single time. Okay, we're going to skip the convince me, at least on the video here, and we're going to go to the guided practice section. And question number 1 here says compare the one way and another way strategies on the previous page. How are they the same? How are they different? Okay, well, let's write that down. They are the same, okay, because they broke numbers up, right? So if we'll slide back and look at that page. In each example, they took 114 and they broke it up into smaller parts. 100 plus 10 plus 4 on this one. And on this one, they broke it up into, I'm going to use another color here. They broke it up into 100 plus 9 plus 5. So in both examples, they are the same because they broke apart 114. Okay, so how are they different? I need to write that down too. They ask how they're different, so let's put different. I'm just going to abbreviate different. Okay, and they're different because, well, as we look at it, one used the number line and the other one did not, right? So I can just say one used the number line. I'm going to kind of use a symbol for number anymore. We're used to saying that's a hashtag, but it's also a number sign. Use the number line. One used number line, the other didn't. The other did not. There we go. Okay, so just as simple as that. We don't have to go into a giant essay. Number 2 says use mental math, so we can use that number line strategy or break apart strategy somehow to find how many animals Dr. Gomez saw during year 2. So we have to go back, and now we're looking at how many animals she saw in year 2. So take a closer look at our data. Year 2, right here, we have 114, 171, and 212. So we're going to have 114 plus 171 plus 212. All right, so I don't think I'm going to use the number line here in my example. I'm going to use kind of more of a break apart strategy. And I'm going to break apart 100 and make that 100 plus 10 plus 4. And then 171, I'm going to break that apart. 100 plus 70 plus 1. And then 212, I'm also going to break that apart, and that's going to be 200 plus 10 plus 2. Now I'm going to add all of that business up. So when I add my hundreds up here, I have 100 plus 100 is 200, plus 2 more hundreds is 400. I leave my plus sign down here. Now I'm going to add up those tens. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 70 is 90, or I could start with 70. That's what I usually do. I start with the bigger number. So 70 plus 10 is 80, plus 10 more is 90. And then add up all these ones here. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. So I have 400 plus 90 plus 7. That equals 497. So that's my one strategy that I would use, looking at today's kind of topic of how we can add up numbers. Of course, we don't have to break them up. We could line them up vertically. 114. Just write it this way. We'll get to this method here also. 171 and 212, and just line them up and add them, and we still will end up with 497. Okay, we'll get to that method though in a few more lessons. All right, let's go. Do you know how? So this is applying some of the strategies we learned in today's lesson and just working through the process here. So the directions say use the make 10 strategy to add 738 plus 126. And if we look here, they took 126 and they broke it up for us. So they have the 100, 24, and 2. So we start with our first step. 738 plus something equals 740, and that something is 2. I have to zoom in a little bit more to get the 2 in there. Okay. So now we're at 740, and we've used the 2. Next up, 740 plus something equals 764, and we have to choose from either 24 or 100. 740 plus 24 equals 764. So I can cross that 24 off. And then finally, we have 764 plus something equals 864. 764 plus 100 equals 864. So 738 plus 126 equals that right there, 864. There we go. And then let's go to number 4. Use the adding on strategy to add 325 plus 212. And again, for us, they've already broken up 212 into 200 plus 10 plus 2. So 325 plus 200, we might have to even line that up if we're unsure of what that equals. 325 plus 200. Add up my ones column. 5 plus 0 is 5. Add up my tens column. 2 tens plus nothing. 2 tens. And finally my hundreds column. 300 plus 200. 500. So 525 is our answer here. And then we go to the next section. So we added the 200. Now we're going to add in this 10. I'm going to cross that off right now. 525 plus 10. And again, we might have to even write it out. 525 plus 10. Add up my ones column first. 5 ones plus 0 ones is 5 ones. Then I add up my tens column. 2 tens plus 1 10. 3 tens. And finally, my hundreds column. 500 plus nothing is 500. So 535. 525 plus 10 equals 535. And then finally, we have some number plus 2 equals 537. See, we're adding in a 2 there. And we just take what we finished with last time, 535. 535 plus 2 equals 537. So 325 plus 212 equals right here 537. And we'll write that in. There we go. So that's it for the guided practice, boys and girls. The rest of it is independent work on this page and the next page if you have your workbook. And I'll leave it up to you. As always, this is Mr. P, and I'm out.